All right, I'm here with one of the guys that really been killing the game, man. Really getting exclusive interviews out here, getting interviews a lot of people can't get, and putting in a lot of work in this boxing game. And I definitely want to say thank you for coming on the platform, bro.
Thank you for having me, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, man, I really respect your hustle, man. You're really out here doing it, and that's why you're on the show. I want to know what you got going on and how you got to where you at now and where you see this going. But before we get into all that, we just seen you with Teofimo. That's kind of what's popping in your world right now.
Yeah.
Where you felt the need to press him up and about his comments. And but before we get into that, those comments were made on my channel, unfortunately. And why did you decide to go and press him and do all that?
I mean, it kind of just happened, to be honest. I think like all of the headlines that came out was like, yo, Cigar Talk presses Tio. Cigar Talk presses Tio. That's kind of the headline that came out. And I guess that's how it looked on the, in the interaction. The video is only halfway into the conversation, right?
Okay.
So like, this didn't start off on camera, right? Like, I think people think like, I did this because there's cameras and like, this conversation started off camera, right? Like it was just me and him there. And it wasn't me pressing him. To be honest, like I was standing there recording and he said something to me, right? Like, and we noticed each other. He like, yo, what's up? But it was like a what's up, like what's up? Because I'm pretty active on Twitter, man. I be on boxing Twitter.
So it was kind of like, yo, what's up? What's up with all that shit you was talking?
Yeah,
kinda
basically.
Like that? I got you. All right.
Yeah, basically he was saying what's up, because I've been pretty vocal on Twitter that I don't like the comments that he's made. I felt like that was clown stuff. You know what I mean? And I've been vocal about it. So when he said what's up, I'm like, oh, you know what's up. Like that's what I said. Like I feel like I don't like
you standing on it.
Yeah. And then it kind of just turned into like it was definitely a interesting interaction. But again, like I said, it's like that was where the video part starts, was like halfway into our conversation. So more so it was just me expressing how I felt, letting him know my displeasure with how he's been moving. I think he knows what he's been doing, and I feel like, I just needed to tell him that and kind of get that off my chest that, as somebody that has supported you in the past, I didn't like that. You know what I'm saying? And, I don't want to go into specifics about what was said, but, he knows. And that was really for him. That wasn't for like media or nothing like that. And, it was just kind of one of those things that happened.
Yeah, I definitely want to commend you for addressing him and getting your point across, but also doing it in a professional manner and in a manner where you know where you at. You know what I'm saying? You know that you're at a press conference and there's cameras and all that. So I definitely want to commend you with how you handle that, because, again, when he said those comments, and I kind of froze up and I just moved on because I didn't even know how to respond to it.
Yeah.
Well, and that's why I had him on the show. And I don't know if you saw the interview where I had with him, where I was kind of like asking him, my man, why are you doing this, essentially? Yeah. And then I saw him on the Cameron show, and on the Cameron show, he kind of said, as long as you don't use these 4 words, he didn't get specific as to what words those were. You are right to say anything. You could play. He said something like, I hit him at the belt line. Kind of like, I'm getting as close to racism as I can without actually saying. And that's why he was responding to you like, I only called Tank and Bud, monkeys. And that's what they call themselves. What do you respond to that?
I mean, I just think it's disingenuous, man. I think Tio knows what he's doing. I don't think he's like a dumb guy. I think he knows what he's doing. And I feel like he's used racism to stir up commotion, right? Like he knows the implications of what calling a black person a monkey and making banana references. I think he understands that. I think he understands that it gets a rise out of people and people don't like it. With regard to Javante, obviously, like he uses the ape, right? Specifically as an emoji, like he'll refer to himself in that type of way. But Terrence Crawford has never done that. You know what I'm saying? Even at the last press conference that Tio had, I was sitting next to Richardson Hitchens, Africa, everybody call him. I was sitting next to Africa, and Tio made some comments there where he was talking about like, a banana. He mentioned banana again.
Yeah, he
so
said, go get a banana or something.
So it's just, you keep making references to black people as monkeys, bro, and that's, what I'm saying, that's not cool, bro. Like I'm, and I, like I said, I just told him, man, I don't like it, And I think you know what you're doing, and it needs to stop. You know what I'm saying? And like you said, I didn't go there because I see, you know, when it happened, like I said, I didn't realize it was going to become this whole thing. Like, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I'm on Broadway Joel's show all of a sudden. Like
I didn't know this was going to be like everybody's recording. I seen it when people started like running over recording. I didn't realize like that was kind of
going to cause this commotion.
Right.
Do you think he was the one who sent the watermelon or bananas to Keyshawn Davis?
Actually, no. I mean, obviously, I seen the video where he was laughing and said that.
So that's the only reason why I bring that up. I don't want to say I don't want to throw that jacket on him for no reason. There's a specific reason.
No, he was alluding like he did do it. You know what I'm saying? I personally don't think he did it. I think that he used that opportunity to troll and like, you know, do what he's kind of been doing. But I just think it's sad, man, because I'm like, yo, you know, you got a lot of talent as a boxer. Yeah. And, you know, you're allowing all of the extra stuff to really overshadow. One is your craft, but two is like, you have fans. Like I told him, that's one of the things I said. Is like, yo, dog, I was a fan of you, bro. Like I actually supported you. I liked you. And now I don't. You know, Arnold Barboza, you know, we hoping that he sets it straight. Arnold Barboza set it straight. But like you said, at the end of the day, man, I'm a professional, because that was the other thing I was getting like, yo, why ain't you swing on him and da-da-da. And I'm like, yo, bro, this is not the street. I mean,
you can't listen to it. Yeah, exactly. Like, why didn't I swing on him? I got 1,000 reasons why I ain't swing on him.
That's
like,
what I'm saying.
If you a dumbass that needs explanation, that lets me know I don't need to be talking to you. If you ask me why I didn't swing on him.
That's what I'm saying.
That's like and the guy's a professional fighter too. Like,
you know, the thing is, and I've seen a lot of people saying that too, like, oh, like, you know, that's a professional fighter. He might have beat Chaz. Like, you know, maybe not. Right.
Yeah,
like, you know, at the end of the day, I'm a, you know, a fight is different than a boxing match. But again, I didn't come there to fight him. I didn't 100%. I didn't address him to fight him. But, you know, as a man, when you stand on things you say and you stand on things that you believe, sometimes things come with that, you know, and I'm willing to, that was a moment where, you know, whatever was going to happen, but that wasn't my intention to like do that or cause a stir or try to fight him. It was just me letting them know that I think what you're doing is whack.
Yeah, especially when he was the one who like initiated the conversation. You ever had any of these kind of conversations like with other boxers? Is this the first time you and a boxer have kind of like this tension?
Nah, man, I think I kind of came in the boxing game causing disruption a little bit, and not necessarily like on purpose, right? Like I'm coming here because I'm trying to troll people or nothing. Like, nah, I'm not a troll. Like I think I'm open and I say what I say as far as how I feel, right? Like you know, if somebody feels a way about my opinion, it's just, you know, it is what it is. Yeah. But I've been pretty open about my opinions, how I feel about boxing, but nothing personal. I never take any personal digs at anybody. But, you know, my opinion on your craft and me judging you as a boxer, I'm pretty open with that. So I've definitely had a few people get ruffled by things that I've said. Outside of Tio, obviously, Gervonta Davis has been mad at me. Tank has been mad at me.
Why is he mad at you? Why is he mad at you?
Man, I really don't know, man. I can't call it. Like, you have to ask him. I know the initial point where it reached social media was just like, I did an interview with Keyshawn Davis.
Okay.
Right around, this is right before his homecoming fight, the Lemos fight. And, you know, I did an interview and, you know, I'm on YouTube, so people send super chats to ask questions, right? Like, yo, you know, people sent the super chat and they was like, yo, we want to see Tank versus Keyshawn. That's people sent the super chat. So I read the question. And so I asked Keyshawn about it. And, you know, first he was playing it coy, like, yeah, you know, Tank, you know, I'll do it. And I'm like, yo, listen, Key, this is Tank, bro. This is Tank. But when I said this is Tank, I was saying it in a way like, Tank is one of them guys. Like,
I mean, the way you describing it, that's how I'm taking it.
That's how I said it. I'm like, yo, this is Tank. And then, you know, Keyshawn's outspoken, so he started going off like, man, you trying to hype me up, man, F Tank. So Keyshawn just starts going crazy on Tank. He starts bombing on Tank. Yeah. So I guess from there, maybe it looked like, I guess I was hyping it up or whatever the case was, you know. Yeah. But he responded to that in a negative way. And then since then, we just had a few different interactions on social media.
I wish fighters would be a little less sensitive. And I understand, believe me, I understand, like, this is a fight. You know what I'm saying? These fighters take comments that other people make serious because you're not understanding, I'm about to fight this person and you egging it on. But at the end of the day, they have to understand they're fighters, prize fighters. They get paid very well. And us as fans and journalists, we're going to ask questions of the opponent that wants to fight you. And, you know, and then we're going to ask you about him. That's just part of the game. And I'm hoping you guys can. It doesn't sound so deep that you guys is a fall off total.
I didn't think so either, but it kind of went viral. Somebody put some tweets up saying essentially I was banned from the Barclays his last fight. I didn't speak on it, but it like had a whole viral moment on Twitter.
Were you at the Barclays?
No, I was not at the Barclays.
Oh, what happened? What happened?
Man, to be honest, it's just I don't know. Again, I can't speak for how anyone over there feels about what I'm doing.
Over there, you mean PBC?
Whoever, Tank, PBC, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Okay. I don't know. I just know that I definitely would have been there if I could have been. It just didn't really work out like that.
Okay, so your credentials weren't approved or something like that? Or?
Yeah, something like that.
Okay.
Something like that.
Yeah, that's unfortunate because you definitely, like a legit guy, like if I see you at an event, I'm not like, what is this guy doing here? So I think that's a little messed up, especially considering those don't seem like wild, like damn, bro, you violated. You know what I'm saying? I
didn't think so either, but like I said, is I can only be honest and truthful to me, right? Like, and that's what I try to do, and how I lead my life, how I lead my career is like, I say things that are authentic to me. I do interviews that feel authentic to the way I do things, and if people don't like it, it's just nothing. It is what it is. So unfortunately, that's how it went. I'm a Tank fan, so I was like, damn, like I don't know how this had to happen like that, but much success to him.
Yo, but how'd you get into this boxing world? Because I'll be honest with you, and maybe I've just been out the loop. I didn't get wind of you until like a year and a half, 2 years ago, maybe last year. I don't remember when when I got wind of you, it wasn't, oh yeah, he interviewed this little fighter and grew up. When I think I got wind of you like on a Crawford interview or something. I'm like,
that was 2 weeks ago, Joel. 2 weeks ago.
Right? No. I'm talking about it was a big interview. I forget what it was. It wasn't like I seen your growth. You kind of came out of nowhere. How long you been at this and what brought you to this?
No, for sure. Yo, it's crazy you say that, man, because everybody, I don't say everybody, but a lot of people think I'm an industry plant. People behave like this guy's a boxing industry plant. I'm like, an industry plant is crazy.
The internet's a crazy world.
Yeah,
bro.
I think when you start to have some success in what seems like a relatively small time, people will just attribute it to like being a plant. But like, man, the only thing I planted is hard work, bro. I work my ass off to get here. So I guess while everyone's now just seeing me in boxing, I started my podcast, Cigar Talk, in 2017. My day job, I work in music. I work for Sony Records. I'm the head of urban at Sony Orchard, which is Sony's independent distribution.
I'm gonna be sending you some Dominican artists. You need to
send them through. I like them both. You know what I'm saying?
All right, yo, todos los dominicanos, tírenme la canción. Tengo a alguien aquí que lo pueden filmar.
Yeah, Arcangel is one of our artists too. So I met him not too long ago.
Oh, that's dope. That's dope. Oh shit, see, there's something I didn't even know. That's why these interviews are important. Okay, that's dope. Yeah. All right, so you saying like people in boxing just getting to know you, but you already were.
I was already.
You was already up.
I was lit in another area though, right? So I started off this podcast thing, like I said, in 2017, and I was interviewing artists, like rappers. A lot of
Who have you interviewed? What rappers would we know?
Man, 50 Cent, Nicki Minaj, Lil Durk, Moneybagg Yo. The Baby, like everybody that was big and hot.
What was the transition from music to boxing? Like I just went on your page doing my research last few days, and it's all boxing. You know what I'm saying? At least recently, I'm talking about.
For sure.
So what was that transition?
I would say the craziest. All right. So I've always been a boxing fan, right? Like since a kid, I've loved the boxing.
You ever box?
Like not amateurs, but I sparred, you know what I'm saying? I've been in the gym, I boxed for like maybe 2 years, and I was just in the gym. I sparred all the guys in the gym. I was at K2 Boxing Club in Queens.
Okay.
And so that's my only, I boxed for about 2 years, but everything else just fighting the street type vibes. But I just been a boxing fan, man. I love the game. I love the sport, man. And so I always watched and kept up. I just never talked about it in public, like only with my friends, right? Yeah. So like I said, as I'm doing this music thing, it's going good. I'm getting a lot of recognition. My page is growing. I started my page. Like I went viral a bunch of times. But what happened was I felt like as the podcast world started to evolve and grow, the market for hip hop especially became oversaturated. Yeah. And as I also grew in my career, my day job, I was having those type of troubles where, like I said, I had boxers mad at me. Yeah. But I was having things where there's people who I now maybe work with, or managers that manage other artists that I deal with are now getting upset at content or opinions that I've had. And it started becoming this conflict of interest where I'm like, man, you know what? I don't really want to talk about things or people where I work because I'm seeing real life backlash. And in boxing, I'm like, man, I don't work for none of y'all. I say what the fuck I want to say. Like,
I got you.
You know what I'm saying? Okay. So it kind of just went to a point where I was like, yo, this is getting oversaturated and I'm having conflicts of interest. I kind of want to pivot. And it was dope because right around that time, I had met Shakur Stevenson as a kid. He was maybe 16 years old when I met him. Still an amateur.
How old were you?
I'm 36 now. I think I'm maybe about 8 years older than him, something like that. So if he was 16, I'm maybe about 24. I was in my mid-20s when I met him.
Gotcha.
And I met him. So I was interning at Rock Nation. They just opened Rock Nation Sports at the time. I knew the guys from music. And I'm like, yo, I love boxing. I used to tell him, yo, I love boxing. Like, let me work over here. Let me work. I can help you. I can help the promotion company. And the guy who was the head of Rock Nation Sports, Dominican, his name is Juan Perez, OG Juan.
Everybody calls him. Shout out to him, man. I didn't even know he was Dominican. I got to get him on the podcast.
Yeah, for sure. Shout out to Juan. But I used to tell Juan, like, yo, I can help. He was like, yo, you know what? If you want to work here, find me a boxer that I could sign and I'll give you a job. So I went to every amateur tournament, like looking and scouting, and I'm trying to find like who's the guys. Like I need a job right now. This is back in the day. And the two guys that I found that I really liked, and I was like, yo, they could be stars is Shakur and Boots. And those were the two guys that I went to I was going to all the amateur tournaments and they stood out. So I sat with both of them. I was like, yo, listen, I'm with Rock Nation. I'm trying to get y'all signed, blah, blah, blah. And I went to Virginia with Shakur and I spent time with him and blah, blah, blah. So later down the line, this is around the time I told you I was pivoting. Shakur just happens to DM me. I interviewed this guy, Finesse 2 times. He's hot and from Houston. And Shakur DMs me. He's like, yo, you the guy from back in the day with Rock Nation? I'm like, yeah, what's up, bro? He's like, yo, I see what you do. Like, yo, your show is dope, blah, blah, blah. He's like, I want to see, can I get on your show? And I'm like, hell yeah. And that was the first time I did a boxing interview. But he remembered me from, that's almost 10 years before that. You know what I'm saying? And then we did an interview. It went up. It kind of went like fake viral. He said some stuff about Floyd. Like it spread. It spread.
I got you.
And then from there, like I was just like, yo, you know what? This is my pivot, man. Like I love boxing. Those are my two loves, music and boxing.
Yeah.
And then after that, I was like, all right, I'm gonna figure out my transition. So last year was the first time I really made a conscious decision. Like I'm only doing boxing. So I started in 2024. Dope. I was like, only boxing. That's it.
Yeah, and you built your relationship with Shakur from early, so that relationships, all those connections just kind of came quick. That was like, I guess, how do I say, your shortcut, because you already had put in the work from before when you were trying to sign him. Yeah. That's so interesting, man.
And I also think it's, like I said, I had an audience already before boxing, but my audience was like rap or casual fans, right?
Yeah.
So when I came over, a lot of times, a lot of my stuff was going viral because casual fans would be talking about it and spreading it. And, you know, I got cultural blogs that would pick up my stuff. So it wasn't just like I started in boxing. It was like I already had an audience. So I think when I came in the game, a lot of the people that, you know, I got early, they was seeing like, oh, damn, you did this person? Or you interviewed 50 Cent? Like, you interviewed this? Yeah. All right, cool. I'll come on your show.
I got
what I mean? So I kind of like, I think the rap part actually helped me in what I'm doing.
That's fire. That's fire, man. Have you developed relationships with these boxers? I know, apart from like, oh yeah, I just interview you. Are any of these dudes friends? You know Shakur for over 10 years. So any of these boxers you have a specific relationship with?
Yeah, I mean, you start to really develop relationships with guys. Just we around each other so much, right? Like now that I'm in the boxing media, I'm going to workouts.
Which boxers are like you most cool with?
Africa's one of them guys too. Richardson Hitchens.
Shout out to Hitchens. I just interviewed him last week.
I can't wait to see it, man. Fire! I saw the picture, man. Salute to Richardson Hitchens.
Yeah.
But yeah, him, Shakur. Those are the guys I knew for a while. Like I know Africa for just as long as Shakur too. Matter of fact, you know what I'm saying. Yeah. But I'm cool with a lot of these guys. You know what I'm saying. All right. Yeah, I know them for a
while. The way me you interacted, I had already seen your stuff, but I never I guess we never ran into each other, which is weird because we both from New York. We both into boxing. We both go to events. Like, the fact that I never met you in person was wild to me.
Crazy.
So it wasn't until I want to say it was like a month ago. You had said something like, "Yo, I respect what you do," or something like that, and I was like, "Yo, the feeling is mutual," and that's kind of how we developed our relationship. What's your thoughts on me, on the voice of Dominican boxing, of my positioning in boxing? What's your thoughts?
I feel like that's fire, bro. Like when I said that to you on Twitter, I meant that. I ain't just say that as like a thing.
Yeah.
I think that you've been able to carve out a niche. And to me, like, I think the game, and when I say the game, not just boxing, like any game today is like niche is the new mainstream, right? Like, I think the days of mainstream are kind of over where you just cater to everybody, right? I think like the best way to really build the audience is you find the specific group of people and crowd that like what you like. And then it'll attract others to keep finding your crowd. So I think what you've been able to do, like, you know, with Dominican boxers is something that's dope. And I think there's a lane and a niche for it, right? Like, I think there's a lot of people that watch boxing, not just Dominican, obviously Dominican, but like, you know, Puerto Rican, anybody that's Latinx that are gravitating to what you do.
Yeah, like, I got a lot of fans that are Mexican, believe it or not. I got fans that are Puerto Rican, Cuban. I got, the thing is I'm not Japanese, but I want to know about Inoue. Like, you get what I'm saying? So if I know, let's say your content, you cover Inoue extensively, I'm going to watch your content. I don't care that where you from, and I don't care where he from. You just got good content, and that's so. So I feel like my content is good. It is niche. I understand that, some of my Spanish interviews, some English viewers may not see it. Some of my English interviews, my Spanish audience won't see it. And I just kind of deal with the consequences, man. You have any thoughts on the Dominican boxers? Have you seen Rohan Polanco? What's your thoughts on him?
I like him, man. I was at, was he on Canelo's card? I'm trying to remember the last card I seen him on.
He fought on Keyshawn's
undercard. Yeah. Stopped the guy. Strong kid, man. Very strong kid. I seen him maybe like 2 times, so I liked him. Obviously, Edwin, man. I've been waiting for Edwin to get back in that ring. And not just because when he fought Shakur, like, matter of fact, the interview I did with Shakur before the Edwin fight, I told him, I said, dude, this guy ain't no joke. This gonna be your hardest fight.
You seen him spar Edwin or something?
Nah.
How'd you know?
I seen Edwin versus Adorno versus Joseph Adorno. I saw that fight. I saw Edwin when he fought
Rayo.
Yeah, Rayo, stop Rayo after that. Yeah. Like, so I just seen him, and then I started doing my homework on him after I seen those fights. And I'm like, yo, this kid could go. He got footwork, he got skills, he got power. His length is pretty good. You know what I'm saying? So I told him, I was like, yo, this is gonna be your hardest fight. He's like, man, hell no, this ain't gonna be. I'm like, I'm telling you, bro, this is gonna be your hardest fight. So I'm looking forward to Edwin getting back in that ring, man, for sure.
Yo, I find that so interesting because I feel he's the fighter that most people ask me about. Most people want to see his next fight. Most people are high on, and I'm like, damn, this guy's coming off a year and change layoff, off a loss, and people still are very interested in us to what he can do. I saw a recent interview where Shakur said that's the best fighter he's ever fought. And not much happened in the fight. I'm not sure how he got that, but I find it so interesting how much respect he gets from his peers. Like, even Hitchens, when I interviewed him, not last week, when I interviewed him the first time I interviewed him, he mentioned their sparring session, and he mentioned, like, yo, this guy can crack. He got good defense. He can move. He can fight. Yeah. And he definitely respected Edwin's skills. So
that's what I'm saying. That's what I saw in the Adorno fight, right? Like, because the El Rayo fight was a bang out, right? Like, Rayo just came in there. Rayo knocked him down. He came out. You know what I'm saying? That was a bang out. So we knew he got power. But Joseph Adorno, who's a tough veteran, he's got a lot of experience, a guy that could fight, a box, has good timing, and he just outboxed him. Like, that wasn't no bang out inside. This is me using my feet, using my IQ, using my jab. And from there, I was like, damn, this kid got some real skills.
Yeah, nah, for sure. But circling back to Polanco, I think he's going to be our first pay-per-view star.
Yeah.
Dominicans, we never had one. I think he got the swag. He talks shit. He dances after he knocks you out.
Right.
Top rank been bringing him to New York. He's slowly developing his name. He fights at 147. You know,
good division.
The division that everybody loves, and I think talent-wise, he's the goods. We also got Yan Santana coming up. He's a Dominican. He's at 126.
I haven't seen him yet.
Yeah. Nah, he's super nice. He only has one fight that went to decision.
Okay.
And it was his first fight in America. And
how many fights does he have?
I think he's like 16-0 with like 15 knockouts or something like that. Yeah, nah, you gotta check this dude out, man. And if you ever want to interview either of those guys and you need a translator, yo, bro, free of charge. You got me right. And it's on camera.
We need that.
I can't charge you. I can't. Look, I'm saying when you want to interview a Dominican and, yo, man, I want to interview, but he don't speak Spanish. You call Broadway.
Is this only for Dominicans? Can I get other, you know what I'm saying?
It depends. It depends who they are, man. We'll see. The free is for the Dominicans.
I respect that.
Yeah. Let me ask you, what are your thoughts on Canelo versus Crawford? Crawford is someone who you've interviewed. Someone who's, I'm assuming in your top 5 pound for pound.
Yeah, for sure.
Canelo at one point was in your top 5. I don't know if he still is, but this fight is different weights. I don't know what's to think. Well, what's your opinion on it?
I think Terence Crawford's going to beat him.
Wow.
Terence Crawford's gonna beat him, man. And I'm not saying that because I also interviewed Canelo too. Right? I interviewed Canelo also. I'm just looking at it like I've been a Canelo fan for a long time.
Yeah, Canelo nice. Say whatever he gets hate and some of his last few opponent choices I haven't liked, but Canelo nice. Let's not take that from him.
He's still nice. And I just watched his career, from damn near the beginning, man. At least the beginning of him coming to America, right? Mm-hmm. And the times that I've seen Canelo have trouble are against guys that can do what Terence Crawford is able to do, right? Mm-hmm. Like if we're talking about Erislandy Lara, who very close fight. Some people arguably say he won that fight. Yeah. Being able to circle, use your jab, use your feet. I think using your feet is the biggest thing against Canelo because I don't think his footwork isn't really that good from a lateral movement standpoint. Yeah. I think if he's standing in the pocket close range, like he'll make little moves with his feet that are cool in terms of getting on the outside. But I think when you don't allow him to set his feet, it's a harder fight for him, right? And I saw people do that in spots against him, right? Like I said, Erislandy Lara, Danny Jacobs, of course, Bivol. And I think Terence Crawford still has enough, even at his old age, to do that and use lateral movement. I've seen him do that. But also standing next to both of these guys, right? Like I said, as I interview both guys, obviously Canelo's the bigger guy at a weight, but it's like Terence Crawford's taller than him. He's longer than him. He's very strong. We all know like Terence Crawford's a strong guy. So I just think that from an IQ standpoint, I just think that matchup, it's just a styles make fights thing. I don't think it's necessarily about who's better per se, but I think the Crawford style is going to give Canelo trouble just in terms of, like I said, I think he's going to move. I think his jab is a really good jab that's going to be able to keep Canelo at bay. And then the times that Canelo does come in, I think Crawford's a sharp enough counterpuncher that I don't think Canelo's just going to be able to walk in without any form of respect.
Well, I mean, listen, Canelo's chin is all time. So I think he can take punches from this guy who has one fight at 154. And I just think what Bud's able to do as far as hurt his opponents, regardless of Canelo's chin, he's also moving up in weight. So you find an iron chin guy who is way bigger than you, according to the weight. I understand the height, but everybody's taller than Canelo. Canelo has fought tall fighters his whole career. Mm-hmm. I can't see Crawford winning unless he makes this a boring fight, running, boxing, moving, and really not getting touched, because Canelo can punch, and he's slowing down, but he's not all the way slowed down. I'm picking Canelo.
That's not bad. I'm not mad at that. I think my other retort to it is that if this was Canelo 3-4 years ago, I think this is a different fight. I think now Canelo is slowed enough. His enough, be clear, is still better than 90% of boxers, right?
Yeah.
But I think Crawford is in that elite level to where he's slowed down enough that, especially in the later rounds, Canelo's gas tank to me starts to fade.
That is something
and I think that's the part that I'm seeing is like, yes, in the beginning rounds he starts slow. The mid rounds is where he's absolutely dangerous. Like 3 to 8, 3 to 9 is where Canelo is just a dangerous fighter. But then once you start to get to 10, 11, 12, Canelo has shown me in multiple fights lately that he slows down in his gas tank, man. So I obviously Crawford's he should be the underdog. he better be the underdog.
Yeah.
But I think that from a stylistic standpoint, I think he beats him. And I said this about Bivol also. I won a lot of money actually on DraftKings.
Okay.
I knew Bivol was also going to beat him based on the style. So I'm saying it again.
All right. Hey, man, shout out to DraftKings. Maybe you can make some money again.
Need a sponsor, DraftKings. Holla at me, man.
Yeah, holla at me too, man. Holla at me too. You need the Latino market.
That's a fact.
But yeah, that's so interesting. Listen, I don't want to totally dismiss Crawford's chance because I respect his boxing IQ. I think these are two of the fighters with the highest boxing IQ in boxing. Like, really, really smart guys. I think they're both elite at what they do.
Yep.
If they were the same weight, I would pick Crawford. I just think, man, one fight at 54 and then your next fight is at 68. It's like, oh no, like I know. It's just, I want to pick Crawford because I know if this was an even weight fight, I would pick Crawford. I just, that jump is too much for me. But what does a win mean to Crawford? What does a win over Canelo Alvarez become the first three-time undisputed champion in this four-belt era? What would that mean?
Top 5 all time.
Top 5 all time?
All time, man. All time. I think, again, it's like what we're saying. I mean, the only thing I can kind of liken it to is Sugar Ray Leonard going up to beat Marvin Hagler at 160 after the eye injury, right? So, like, that was crazy because, remember, he took some time off.
Yeah.
Right? So, but, like, for a guy that, and people discredit his resume. I don't think he has the best resume, no. To no fault of his own, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's just the way the cards went.
Yeah.
But for a guy to clean out 40, right? Did what he did. He beat Ricky Burns at 35, which Ricky Burns was decent. He's a good fighter.
Yeah.
But whatever. Beat
in
Ricky
his home
Burns
country too.
Away. So beat Ricky Burns, cleaned out 40. At the time, remember, like, people be sleeping on people look at things in hindsight as opposed to the context at the time. But like when he beat Victor Postol, like that was a legit win. Really good win, right? The guy that just whooped Matisse, and Matisse was coming off being the boogeyman, right? He did Lamont Peterson dirty, like Matisse at the time, and you know, he did what he did. Like Victor Postol at that time was one of them guys.
And he was a champion too.
And he was a champion. So he did that, you know, undisputed then. But then his run at 47, dog, is like everyone at 47 that fought got stopped. That's kind of crazy to think. Like, I didn't just win.
It wasn't the best opponents, to be fair, but hey.
You don't think so? I think it's pretty good, though, man.
I mean, no disrespect. I don't want to make this not you. I'm saying to Bud. I don't want to make this like, oh, I'm hating on Bud, but you know, Amir Khan and kind of glass chin guy, and that was kind of like a weird knockout how that happened. Okay. Kell Brook kind of beat up already.
See, I don't like that. I don't know if I like that one, man.
Listen, the guy got his face broken in twice, literally.
Like twice by Errol.
One by
Triple G, obviously was
Triple
the initial.
G, and then in the next fight, he got both cheekbones broken in back-to-back fights. After that, you're not going to tell me that's the same fighter.
I just don't, because when Errol fought him, I don't think anyone said that really, and Triple G already broke his eye socket.
I didn't give him full credit for that either.
Okay.
I didn't give him full credit, but I do think it's he fought him after one eye socket broken. Now this guy's fighting him after two. So I kind of look at that one like that. I just think regardless of what the resume is, it's all 100% knockout ratio. Plus Errol Spence, who a former Olympian, had 3 of the belts, beat Sean Porter, beat Danny Garcia, you know, never got the Thurman fight, whatever, you know, he didn't want it. You know, that's a long story, but he was clearly the best guy on that side of the street. He went and he knocked him out in dominant fashion. So I still give him his credit for his reign at 147 because he clearly was the best guy.
Yeah.
It's just, I just don't think, like, since you brought it to that all-time great level, top 5, I think if we put his resume next to Duran and Leonard and Ali and Mayweather and Pacquiao, I just don't think he quite stacks up to that. Like, if you put his list of wins and their list of wins, it just doesn't match.
I would agree to that, but I would agree. If we're talking about the names, then I would agree to that. But I also think if we're talking about the accomplishments, right, like to go up, to do that and be undisputed and, He's already 2-time undisputed. To do it 3 times and
wild.
At 168, like you went from 47.
And you beating Canelo.
Dog, that's what I'm saying. That's like, to me, that's
I see what
just
you're saying.
crazy.
You're saying that singular win with context that he wiped out 2 divisions brings it up to that level.
I think so. To beat Canelo at 68, that's like...
Well, to bring that into context, I know it's different eras. When it was the 1 belt era, Henry Armstrong was champion at 126, moved up to welterweight, became champion at welterweight, then moved back down to lightweight and beat the guy at lightweight. So he was a 3, again, undisputed. Since it was one belt, it was undisputed. He was simultaneously undisputed champion in 3 weight classes. So, like, there's guys like what he's doing. There's guys that did that too in terms of. That's why top 5 is hard for me. It's hard for me to squeeze him in there.
It's just the jumping because really like he just moved up to 54, right? Majimov, which was a tough opponent, good opponent,
good fighter,
but like
good fighter.
I still look at him kind of like a 47-pound guy. Right, so just to go up to 6, to skip 3 weight classes,
that is a great win.
That's insane.
That would be. Hey, listen, I'm not necessarily rooting for either one. Yeah. I'm picking Canelo, but I'll give credit to Bud if he could pull this off for sure, man. That's that would be a quality win on his resume, one that nobody can take from him. Like, Canelo's dipping a little bit, but I don't think the dip is enough where you can say you beat an old Canelo. And even if even if it's a dip that you do consider an old Canelo, the weight difference cancels that out. It cancels that out.
I agree.
It's Canelo in his mid-30s. Yes, maybe a little older, but still the undisputed champion currently.
Absolutely. And we're going to see, to be honest, we're going to really get a gauge of where he's at. People sleeping on William Scull, man. I know people don't just necessarily know the name. I watched this guy's fight. He ain't just like he just a walkthrough. Yeah, it ain't just that. It's not just that. So I think this fight is going to be a lot more. And I said this about the Gervonta Davis fight. People said, "Oh, you're hating on Tank or you're glazing Lamont Roach and whatever." I said, that fight, this ain't going to just be like that. And I kind of feel like the same way with William Scull. Not to say I think he could beat Canelo, but I think that...
It ain't no walkthrough.
Yeah. His style is one in which is like, again, that I could see it trying to, Canelo having to figure it out as opposed to I could just come there and do what I do like Jaime Munguia.
I got you. All right. Is Canelo in your top... You know what? Can you give me your top 5? Because, Canelo, he was... in the top 5 regularly the last, I want to say 5-7 years, but now some people have them, some people don't. Can I get your full top 5?
Yeah, he's not in my top 5 anymore. Okay. Top 10 for sure, but not top 5. Number 1 for me is Inoue.
Ooh, that's my number 1 too.
Yeah, I think that kid is like he's special. I think that kid is special. Power, speed, angles, precision, like. He has every day. I mean, his defense could get better, but he has the defense. Like his defense is more like distance than actual like high guard or like whatever. But he's more protective when there's things to worry about coming back. The times that I've seen him get caught, like against Louis Neri, it's more so I just don't respect you and I'm coming in so crazy, and he could get hit with a counter shot like in that way, which we saw. Mm-hmm. But in a way is special. So I think he's number 1. I get controversy for this one too because I made some controversial takes about Usyk, but I think Bud is number 2. I think I got Inoue, Terrence Crawford at number 2, Usyk at number 3. The Usyk thing, man. I gotta talk to you about the Usyk thing.
Yeah, I was waiting for you to give your list for me to ask, but let's go on to Usyk.
You wanna go? It's his. I took a lot of heat on on Usyk's last fight against Fury, the second one.
Okay.
I thought the thing is I think that fight made it to where people put him in contention for like the top something heavyweights of all time. Like I saw people saying top 3 heavyweights all time.
That's wild.
I think that's what I'm saying, and I'm like, that's in the history of heavyweights, he's top 10. I could say maybe coming toward the latter end of 10. But like,
I don't even know
top
if he's top
5.
I don't even know if he's top 10.
That's what I'm saying, and I think he's
heavyweight got some killers, man. Like,
and I'm just come on, man.
Listen, what he did. Listen, and I'm talking about a heavyweight. What he did doesn't compare with what Mike Tyson did. Mike Tyson wiped out a division at 20, bro. Like, come on, bro. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm not disrespecting what Usyk has done, but let's not. Top 3 is wild. I don't know. I never seen that. Listen,
yeah.
But if we encompass his whole career, from gold medal to undisputed at cruiserweight, undisputed at heavyweight, completely wiped out a division, you know, cleanly. He got vacated. The IBF went to a fighter that he already knocked out. So he is, if we talk about his resume, he is on a level where he could talk about his career against anybody's, but
he's on the level. Yeah. It's just, I don't like that. Like the same way we talk about Terrence Crawford's resume, or people be like, man, his 140 run was weak. Can we be honest about his cruiserweight run?
Nah, come on.
Could we be honest? Like Bradis is a really good fighter, right?
Yeah.
Like he's the guy that's closest to A level.
Okay.
But like outside of that, like who are we talking? That's like
we gotta add
like,
context. You know we gotta add context to those wins. He beat all those guys in their home country. Yeah. And the undisputed fight was the World Boxing Super Series. It was for undisputed, and he was a Ukrainian going to Russia and fighting in that home country. That win alone cements that cruiserweight. You know the type of pressure and tension that must.
Are we talking about Glowowski? What's the? I don't know how to pronounce it.
No,
his name with the G.
I forget.
I forget how to pronounce his name.
That's not him. It's damn. I'm slipping on the Russian's last name right now. Whatever. Point is, he went to Russia and fought another champion, fought undisputed, for the World Boxing Super Series in a time where there was tension amongst the countries, and pulled that off. That win right there in history is big for me, man. The context, that's like a Joe Louis, Max Schmeling type win. Because at the end of the day, who's Max Schmeling? But when you add context, though, the president telling you, yo, listen, we need those muscles to protect us from this government that the most evil people. Yeah. I feel like, not comparing Russia to Nazi Germany, but I'm saying that context of tension between countries. I think that's an all-time great win.
I can see that.
That's an all-time great win.
I just feel like if we're looking at the spectrum and the scope of who those guys that he beat for undisputed, like who did they beat, or like what makes them great?
I mean, how closely do you follow cruiserweight?
That's one of the weakest divisions, but I mean, I've looked at it. You know what I'm saying? The back of my position, but I'm just saying is, I think for us to call Crawford's run at certain things, like his 140 run weak, but we don't question his cruiserweight run, I think it's like, you know, I would say Usyk's is better, but it's not too far apart to where it's like, you know what I'm saying? And I don't really hear people criticize that.
All right. Hey, listen, we had an open discussion about it, so let's let that simmer right there. Let's move on to number 4, because he was your number 3.
Number 4 is Number 4 is where it gets tricky. So that's the top 3.
We got Bivol. Better be a
Bivol. Bivol got to be number 4. Yeah, Bivol got to be number 4. I mean, I thought he won the first fight too. Obviously, what he did this last one against Better be.
Yeah, that was amazing.
Oh my God,
that was amazing.
Oh my God, the adjustments. Obviously he beat Canelo, but this guy Bivol is he's got the goods. He also has one of the best. I think he's second in defensive rating. Plus minus after Shakur Stevenson. So the guy's defense is just like amazing. Underrated.
And defense. He has the best jab in boxing.
Man. So and his footwork is amazing. So Bivol, and then my number 5, Jesse Bam Rodriguez. That kid right there. Nice. Oh, I love Bam.
Super nice.
Bam is one of those, like, I'm so glad I was ringside for Bam's last fight at the Boots card. Mm-hmm. This guy is just, bro. And especially because, everybody likes to say Mexican style. Yeah. He got Mexican style, but he got everything else too. He got the jab, he got the footwork, he has power, his IQ. Yeah. He's not scared. Like, I think Bam is like, he's one of them ones, and I can't wait till he starts to get in the mix with those Japanese killers.
Oh man.
I can't wait.
Yeah, listen,
Nakatani, we need that.
The top 3 pound for pound, it's always a little bit boring. Yours not so much because there was a little controversy, but the 4 and 5 is where it gets interesting, because you guys like Nakatani, you got guys like Bam Rodriguez, Bivol, even Beterbiev. Yeah, he lost, but who the fuck he lost to? Yeah. So I'm not going to totally discount Beterbiev. Yeah. So we got him, who could possibly be a number 4 or 5. So those last, it gets real interesting.
Yeah, for sure.
It gets real interesting, and we got some killers now. Like, a lot of people like to complain about boxing and as to where we are with it and the talent level. But I think when you look at that top 8 pound for pound, top 10, you go, man, there's a lot of talent out here.
A lot of talent. And they all from different areas and places. That's
there's
what
nobody
I love too.
dominating. There's nobody dominating.
It's all over the world. The world, it's a global sport, man. And, you know, we're seeing that on our top 10 list.
Yeah, look at your top 5. Totally unbiased, right? You had number 1, Japanese. Number 2, American.
Yep.
Number 3, Ukrainian.
Yep.
Number 4, Russian.
Yep.
And number 5, Mexican American. So like
it's all over.
You get what I'm saying? Ain't not one is totally dominating nothing.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man. This is a interesting time we living in. And speaking of interesting time, I wanted to leave off with this question because this is I feel like about to shake up boxing. The union between Turki Al-Sheikh and Dana White. What's your opinion on what they're trying to do, and have you heard any rumors as to how this league is going to be run?
Nah, I haven't really heard any rumors. I actually did an interview yesterday with Callum Walsh. Okay. He's a Irish guy that he's one of them next like Irish stars. You know, the Irish community, they're real tight knit and they got a guy. But anyway, he's signed to Tom Loeffler, who is in conjunction with Dana White. So I think he's going to be probably one of those early TKO fighters that everybody's talking to. I say that to say is he's fighting this Sunday for St. Patrick's Day, and Dana White's going to be there. So I'm going to run down on Dana White like, yo, what's going on, brother? We got to know what's going on. So I haven't really heard anything. I'll know something Sunday, you know what I mean? But I think it's very interesting. I think boxing is changing in front of our eyes, right? Like we're literally seeing a shift. I think it's too early right now for me to tell if it's for the better or for worse. But one thing we do know is that what makes the sport great is when the best can fight the best. I think because of politics, because of network deals, because of exclusivity deals, we've had trouble seeing that because, you know, naturally, right? A promoter who's putting up the money wants to make the most money, right? So it's like, if I can put on an in-house fight and keep majority of the earnings, I'm going to do that. I think that has caused, you know, us not to see the best fights at times just because it's promoter versus promoter. But I think when a guy like Turki enters the equation with an unlimited amount of money, right? Like this guy could just pay for whatever. You know what I'm saying? I think that in order to stay competitive, we're going to have to see other promoters doing things that they may not normally do just because they have to compete against a guy with the big bag. You know what I mean? So I like that Turki is coming and shaking things up. As far as like one belt per division, I don't really like that. I'm not the biggest fan of that. Like I like the idea because one is I like undisputeds of like there's two. Like how do you know who's second or third best, right? It's just a ranking system that we arbitrarily go for. Like, what determines who's the next best guy?
That's why I always wanted for like there to be an identification of the lineal champion be more important than, you know, this belt holder. I kind of wish that. I'm not sure if this is kind of what he's implementing. He is the Ring Magazine owner, so I don't know if what he can go and do with that. But from what I understand is he's ringing us into the 5th belt era. I think that's where he's going with this league. He's going to get his own belt, and people are going to fight in this league, kind of like the UFC. The UFC, you're the UFC champion. You're not the MMA champion. So I think he's going to build up his league, and you're going to be a champion. This is going to be considered a world title, and this is going to be the 5th belt we have in this era. I think that's where we're going with it.
I mean, I'm not mad at that. I think it's interesting. I was at the Canelo fight the Canelo press conference. Yeah. And Canelo went up to take the picture, and I know it went crazy all over Twitter. Like, get that WBC out of here. Get that belt out of here.
Get that belt out of here.
I'm like, yo, Turki.
No, but from what I understand, it looked like Turki said, no problem. Like, yeah, it's fine. And then Canelo just misunderstood and heard no and was like, no. That's kind of how it looked to me.
Yeah, I really interpreted it like, yo, I don't want this belt in our picture. That's kind of how it looked. You
imagine how Mauricio Suleiman must feel not enforcing a mandatory in Benavidez and accommodating Canelo for years. And now Canelo's like, no, get that belt out of here. Yes, I'm with this guy.
But listen, man, I think, you know, that's one of the good things about it to me is I think the organizations, one is they take a lot of money from the fighters. Fighters complain 3%? About that, 3%. Yeah. So if you're undisputed, that's 12% of your purse just coming out, right? Yeah. So that's one. But two, I think we've seen, and I don't want to call it being bored or whatever. Like, I don't know the politics of it. I'm not that close to any of the organizations to know and see it. But I've seen fights that should have been ordered, not been ordered, right? And like I've definitely seen things to where us as fans are like, why is this not happening? And for whatever reason or rules that they have. And I think, again, is Turkey doing what Turkey does along with Dana White. I feel like it's going to have to force these organizations to step up and, really enforce mandatories and really put on these, fights that, like you said, Benavidez and Canelo, like that's one that you should have been like, either the guy gets stripped or like the fight has to happen. It's been years. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. We want to see that fight. Sure. I said that was my last question. I lied. I got one last one. If you could leave off a prospect that you want people to know of, or a prospect you feel like, yo, this guy's next up, y'all may not know about him, or maybe we do know about him. Give me a prospect you want us to check out.
I'll give you two. Okay. One, because mostly everybody already knows this guy, but he's still a prospect, and I've been saying number one prospect. Actually, I think I might have gave him his first interview. Abdullah Mason.
Shout out to
Abdullah Mason. That boy is a killer. Come on, man. Nice. That boy is a killer, and I love this fight at Keyshawn. He took that shot, came back, took 2 shots, got dropped, came back, and stopped the guy in 2 rounds. So I really love Abdullah Mason. I feel like most people that watch boxing are familiar with him at this juncture.
Yeah. Shout out to Abdullah Mason.
But the second guy I wanted to mention, because he's also a bronze medalist and Olympian at the last Olympics, Amari Jones.
Okay.
He fights tomorrow, his pro debut on under Matchroom, Amari Jones. I like this kid. I like him. I like his style. I think he has a long jab. He puts his combinations together. And again, this is just me looking at him as an amateur. I want to see how it all translates into the pro game. Yeah. But he's definitely somebody that I'm looking at and wanting to see his career unfold.
Yo, Naji, thank you so much for your time, bro.
Thank you, brother.
This won't be the last time. I definitely had fun. I hope you had fun.
Amazing.
Yeah, we gotta do this again.
Man, I love this, man. I gotta get some Spanish in my repertoire, man.
Hey,
I'm gonna say something right now. Like,
go ahead, bro. Go ahead.
Okay, what's poppin'? You know what I'm saying? I got my homies from Uptown.
Yo, I'm taking them to Dykeman right after this.
Yes, sir.
All right, man.